Welcome back to Middle East in Depth, part of Levant TV's Press Reviews. The editorial team at the New York Times write an article titled "A Deadly Legacy in Iraq." An investigation by C.J. Chivers published in the Times on Wednesday found that American and American-trained Iraqi troops discovered thousands of abandoned and highly dangerous chemical weapons left over from the rule of Saddam Hussein in Iraq. These weapons, found from 2004 to 2011, wounded troops from both armies. There are now fears that some could fall into the hands of fighters of the Islamic State, which now control much of the territory where the weapons were found. The Chivers investigation exposes shocking failings by the Pentagon, among them a callous disregard for the safety and care of Americans and Iraqi troops, and a disturbing pattern of secrecy that can only erode public confidence in government. About 5,000 chemical warheads, shells or aviation bombs were found on 6 occasions. Soldiers suffered wounds. At least 20 American troops and 7 Iraqi police officers were exposed to nerve and mustard agents. The editors state that over the years, even as troops kept stumbling over these weapons, the discoveries were not shared publicly. And even in the military and Congress, there were very few people who knew about them. Troops who came into contact with chemical weapons were told to keep the information secret. The result was to expose everyone else, soldiers and doctors, to further risk. The New York Times concludes that what poses an unacceptable risk to civilians and the armies trying to fight a new enemy in Iraq is that the Pentagon apparently lost interest in the chemical weapons problem, left it to the Iraqis, and the Iraqis have failed to do so. As ISIS fighters surge towards controlling Anbar province in western Iraq and the border town of Ain al-Arab known as Kobani in Syria, US commanders and diplomats are signaling that the United States must expand its military operations before the extremists control even more territory. David Ignatius writes an article saying President Barack Obama is facing difficult new options to bolster allies in both Syria and Iraq. As Obama weighs the recommendations for tougher action, he must worry that because of the deteriorating situation, he's being pushed down to the very path of escalation he had hoped to avoid. The Daily Star writer says that John Allen, who's serving as special envoy and just returned from the region, and submitted a proposal under discussion at the White House, which is to include authorizing US advisors to join the assault echelon when Iraqis go into battle against the extremists. This will be the hardest recommendation for Obama to accept because it fuzzes his pledge not to use combat troops in Iraq. Meanwhile, John Kerry summed up the situation to a colleague recently, saying with the extremists on the march, Obama faces a fundamental question of how to carry out his pledge to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIS. It's a terrible dilemma for the president, but an inescapable one. That was it for today's brief media analysis. For more updates, please visit our website Levant.TV or subscribe to Middle East in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching and bye for now.